As dusk fell over the quiet expanse of the tranquil forest, David, an experienced hiker with a soul drawn to solitude and wilderness, came across something he had never seen before. A bear standing alone in a clearing, tears glistening in its fur. It wasn't angry, it wasn't aggressive, it was devastated. And somehow it was asking for help. David froze. His instincts screamed to scare the animal off or to flee, but the bear didn't act like a wild beast. It inched closer, sniffed his hands, his jeans, and let out a low, mournful growl. The message was clear. The bear needed him. Trusting an emotion he couldn't quite explain, David mirrored the bear's behavior, approaching slowly and allowing himself to be sniffed. When the bear turned and began walking away, it paused and looked back. David didn't follow at first, but a sharp, guttural growl changed that. He was sure now the bear wanted him to come along. They hiked through familiar trails that soon gave way to uncharted wilderness. As the minutes turned into hours, David's nerves frayed. Was he walking to his own demise? Was this a trap? Still, he pressed on, guided only by trust and the bear's unwavering purpose. Eventually, they reached a raging river, swollen by recent rains, impossible to cross safely. The bear paced frantically, sniffing the air and glancing across the water. David heard faint sounds. Something was over there. Not a bear cub, but something else. Something alive. The bear pawed the river but refused to cross. It was clear it had once crossed here, but the waters were now too dangerous. Searching the area, David spotted a makeshift bridge of tangled vines and fallen trees. With his heart pounding and legs trembling, he crossed, step by step, over the crashing torrent. The bridge groaned, vines biting into his palms, but he made it. Then incredibly, the bear followed, trusting David as he had trusted it. On the other side, the bear shook off its fear and continued its strange journey. The terrain grew wild and thick with underbrush. This was no longer forest meant for hikers. David pushed through brambles and vines, wondering what could be waiting ahead. Soon they came upon strange signs, old ropes hanging from branches, rusted tools half buried in moss, and then a piece of weather-worn paper, a circus poster. David's blood ran cold. The image on the faded poster was of a dancing bear, surrounded by bright lights and cheering crowds. Now long gone. It was bizarre, almost surreal. What would a circus poster be doing deep in a forest untouched by time? Then came the footprints, large, strange ones, neither human nor fully animal. As they followed the trail deeper, remnants of a lost world began to emerge. A rusted cage door, collapsed tents, bleached bones, and finally a clearing that opened into what had once been a circus. David gasped. The big top lay in ruins, its once bright fabric now gray and torn. Carnival rides sat twisted and broken. Vines wrapped around popcorn stands, and the ghost of music seemed to hang in the air. In the distance, cages lined the clearing, and inside them, movement. Animals, lions, monkeys, wolves, emaciated, restless, broken. David felt a wave of despair crash over him. These animals had been left behind, abandoned, forgotten, and the bear, this bear, was once one of them. The bear walked toward the cages, stopping to sniff at each one, releasing soft, heart-wrenching sounds. David followed, unable to look away. The animal's eyes met his, some blank, others filled with pain. He could hardly believe what he was seeing, a secret prison for forgotten creatures, tucked away in the wild. Determined to help, David pulled out his phone, desperately searching for a signal. Finally, a flicker. Just enough. He called emergency services and explained the nightmare he'd uncovered. The signal cut out soon after, but he had hope someone had heard him. Night fell. David built a small shelter, the bear resting beside him like a silent sentinel. The forest whispered around them, filled with rustling leaves and distant calls. David stayed awake, watching over the caged animals, promising them in his heart that he wouldn't leave without making sure they were saved. Morning came slowly, with mist curling around the ruins. Then in the distance, the sound of vehicles. Rescue teams had arrived. Wildlife experts, law enforcement, and animal welfare officers poured into the clearing, stunned by what they found. Cages were pried open. Medical care was given. Each animal, including the once captive bear, was tagged, checked, and prepared for relocation. David watched as life returned to the clearing, a sense of hope reborn. Investigators uncovered more than just animals. Documents found in a decaying trailer revealed the circus had once operated illegally, trafficking exotic animals and exploiting endangered species. When it was finally shut down, the owners vanished, leaving their performers to die. The media caught wind of the story quickly. David's harrowing journey was told on news channels and websites around the world. Interviews followed, so did photos of David standing beside the bear, of the rescue teams freeing animals from their cages, of the long-forgotten circus swallowed by the forest. David, once a lone hiker, became an accidental hero, and then something more. He joined animal rights organizations, spoke at conservation events, and wrote about his experience in blogs, interviews, and columns. His story reached schools, charities, and governments, becoming a rallying cry for stronger animal protection laws. But for David, it was never about fame. He often returned to the tranquil forest, walking the old trails, hoping to catch a glimpse of the bear that had changed his life. Sometimes he saw it from afar, watching him silently from the trees. Other times he only saw paw prints, but he always felt its presence. That bear had saved those animals, but it had also saved David. In the bond between man and beast, something profound had awakened. It reminded David, and all who heard his story, of our shared responsibility to protect the voiceless, to speak out against cruelty, and to never ignore a cry for help, even if it comes from the most unexpected place.